for example, this is an image from a coffee shop in London called Tino, We Salute You. You know how at coffee shops you get those cards, they get punched to show how many coffees you've drunk? Well, this is a wall at this coffee shop. So instead of getting cards, when you buy a coffee, you actually get to write your name on the wall. And then each time you buy a coffee, you put a star around your name. And you can see there are sort of these red stars. So once you've gone through all the blacks, then you keep going with red. And so what this does is it allows the institution to say, hey, we know we're not going to know everybody's name who comes in here. We're not going to be able to greet you and say we're so glad that Stuart has come in for his coffee. But we do have a place for you, and we think of this place as a place that is equally owned by our visitors or our patrons, and it's a place we want you to grow with. You know, I'm very big on loyalty cards, on punch cards for museums, because I think that actually for visitors, they don't necessarily know that you want them to come back. Even though we all feel like we desperately want them to come back, they may see it as this is an attraction, I'm just supposed to come here once and go away. And a board like this lets people know, not only am I invited to come back, but there's almost this competitive game-like angle of, I want more stars, I want to be part of this community. Let's see. Another version of this has to do with comment boards. So as somebody who's interested in visitor participation, I spend a lot of time working on design of comment boards. This on the left, these are both very good comment boards, but they're different. On the left is from the Chicago History Museum. This was for a fashion exhibit. You can see that they did this nice thing where they made their comment board sort of look like this dressmaker's form. But you can see what's going on here is it says share your thoughts, and you can make your comment and fold it up and put it in the... And there's no idea that there's going to be a conversation based on this or something like that. You're just sharing your thoughts. This other comment board is from my grocery store. And my grocery store has this board in the front, and it says things like, store needs a compost bin in addition to trash/recycle bins. You can see that Santa Cruz is sort of like Santa Fe in terms of the focus on fine shredded coconut and tofu and compost bins. But every one of these comments, underneath the visitor comment or the patron comment, there's the comment back from the staff saying, yes, we're going to do that, no, we don't have that, that kind of thing. So there's this conversation going on in the front of the store about what they have and about visitor requests. And a lot of people look at this and they say, well, Nina, people don't have specific requests for museums the way they have requests for somewhere like the grocery store. But I don't think that's true. I never knew before I saw this how I could request something from the grocery store. The people I interact with at the grocery store are checkers and stockers and baggers. They're not people who are the ones who buy the food and who make those decisions. And so just seeing this board made me realize, oh, there's a conversation I can be part of about what this place is going to be like. And I think comparably, if you have a suggestion box in your lobby that or a book that just gets comments like, nice museum, or I wish the bathrooms were cleaner, I think part of the reason those comments aren't that substantive is there's not an expectation that there's a dialogue going on there and that something's going to happen based on what visitors have asked. And just seeing this makes me know this grocery store cares about what I want and what the other people in our community need, and it wants to be reflective of those desires. So I want to show a museum example. I show a lot of non-museum examples as well. This is an example of a very simple exhibit that brilliantly was responsive to what people personally wanted. This is an art museum called the Worcester City Gallery and Museum. It's in Worcester, UK. It's a very small museum, and they decided last summer they wanted to do an exhibit that would get locals feeling really engaged with the museum. So they did something that does not sound like it would accomplish that goal. They opened a temporary exhibit called Top 40 Worcester's Favorite Pictures. It was just 40 pictures, paintings from their permanent collection hung on the walls with very little interpretation. Doesn't sound like a real summer blockbuster. But what they did is they put these voting booths in the middle of the gallery, and they let people use paper ballots, and they would vote for paintings and say, I vote for this painting to go higher in the countdown next week. I like this picture because. And some people made really aesthetic or art historical arguments. Some people said, I like this picture because it's pretty. It doesn't matter. You've got to put your vote in the slot, and then every week the museum would tally up the votes, and then you can see how there's this label over here. It's actually bigger than the art label. It says number 9 in the countdown of favorite pictures. So every week they'd move around those numbers. It is brilliant. And the local newspaper, again, this is a small place, would publish the list in the Saturday Evening Post every week. And they said they knew it was working when on Saturday mornings people would line up outside the museum before open because they wanted to come in and see where the new numbers were. And then people would stand in front of their favorite paintings and they would talk to strangers and say, "Don't you think this one?" You know, and they would and it really became a way for the whole community to feel like they were part of this museum. And I think one of the things, and this relates to a technology argument, one of the things that makes it successful is it's not about voting. It's not about the fact that people got to vote. It's about the fact that the museum responded to what the votes were and said, yes, you are a part of this question about how we value art and how we value it specifically in this community.